But right now, we're taking you to Duban Sinclair. He's on the line. He's ready to talk to us and do some poetry. So, of course, without further ado, please do say hello.
Hi DJ Kat, how you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. So, tell the listeners who is Duban Sinclair and how you kind of got into poetry.
Duban Sinclair is obviously my government name and the name that I kind of do my profession under.
Yeah.
My performance name is Kat-a-lyst. So I kind of got into poetry through kind of like managing my own thoughts.
Okay.
And trying to put down my feelings and emotions in a more less than aggressive manner.
Okay. And did it help you kind of channel that and with your mental health and things like that then? Did it actually work?
Definitely. I feel like poetry and spoken word is like my counsel.
Okay.
It's my therapy. It's allow me to kind of like really have conversations in myself and answer the things that kind of been going on in my life. So definitely writing has helped.
For real. And with yourself, you kind of use food and you mix it in with poetry. Tell the listeners something about that.
Food is life. And I feel like every part of our life is ingrained in food and food culture. So for me, I feel like it makes sense to me to combine my spoken word with my career and putting it together to give you something that's a bit different.
Yeah.
You've never heard of in that way.
Definitely. And who are some of your favourite poets, just so people can get a flavour of your style and who you like?
I've always liked poets that have no names or that are not mainstream. But okay. I grew up with the people like George the Poet.
Okay.
So I always thought rappers were poets.
Yeah.
When you look back at certain like rappers or certain R&B artists, they are poets. They're speaking their stories to you, whether it's on a beat or not.
Yeah, for real. Definitely. And so how can the listeners, before you drop some poetry, how can they get in touch with you and kind of link up with you?
The best way is definitely on the Instagram, Kat-a-lyst, with a Z, not an S, and reach out to me that way on my Facebook. And I'm always here to answer questions, bookings, and stay connected, really.
Definitely. So, you know what? When you're ready, go with it. Go with the poetry vibe.
Okay. My first piece is called Food for Thought.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
We can hear you very good.
Brilliant. So my first piece is called Food for Thought. So God is food. Food is God. Mr. Master of Source. Life force in food's labor. Soul snack savior. There's sorcery in my soups that snatches souls. If God had a taste, a flavor, how would you digest it? Be manifested into food. He was supper at my household. He was the seasoning, the flavor in every dish. From feeding a growing family on frozen to canned fish, marinated beliefs in all our vegetables. From growing off hard food, from toddler to 6 feet, to the going between, the breaking of bread, the peace treaty in our home was many arguments. God is organically grown. Fresh as a produce, from the Garden of Eden, senseless to the taste, untongued tempers in touch. Dad was always working. Mom never ate, so we had enough. God is the one, providing substance to the hungry mouths, lacking nutrients on dying days, from growing miracles on land not fit to grow, or inhabitants' life sources. I turn the bones of a dead carcass into some of the best sources. I seen food that's not enough, like a miracle suffice. Mum said meat don't fill belly, so I bulked out the vegetable with sufficient amount of rice. Ancestors made dishes out of waste. The cuisine I tainted its taste and prayed for poultry as the bird provides protein, got more pieces for the pound. Nothing was wasted, and the Dutch pot is where I'll be found. Different meats on occasion, depending on the crowd, always fighting in the kitchen. Eating what I was allowed. Food is life, transfer in the form of fabrication. Kept us alive when we was fighting for our salvation. Gifted. I turned textures into temptation. Food into foreseeable art. From my first metal breasts, I've been feeding from the start. Food for thought.
Easy. Hey. So I understand, that was like a little piece that you did as well. Tell us something a little bit about it before you go to your next piece.
Okay, so I was doing a writing session and someone said to me, what is like God to you, or what's a higher being to you, or what's the spirit? Yeah. And I was like, spirit's in food. Like, the best way to describe the Most High would be through foods, growth. Like, we all need it for different reasons, and I just felt like, how can I put that into words and food for thought? And I was like, whoever you serve or higher being, it's in there.
For real, I like that, definitely. So, what's the next piece you've got for the listeners out there?
Okay, so because we've got a variation of different ages, I want to show the versatility in kind of spoken words.
Okay.
And how you can make it kind of tie into different brands.
For real.
So I'm going to let this speak for itself, but from the title, you'll know what it's about.
For real.
It's called Avengers Infinite Races.
Okay.
Avengers. Every day is a civil war. In a world of the infinite, let me cast or throw the first stone. I've been fighting many Age of Ultrons. Avengers. Inner Loki's my entire life. We marvel at Iron Man. I see many amended metal wrapped in chains. I use DC in flesh. Marvel at me. Duban Sinclair is my birthday. Educated on parents. I refuse to be less than the son of Krypton. Surrendering my powers to those worthy of my truths. Avengers. I wear many of the skies like Clark Kent. Hide many sides as if sick doctrine seeing me as if strange. Who do I have to come before for? Screwing with us, nailing us to a point. Avengers. Got many hammers too afraid to use them. In fear, they see us as dangerous weapons. Black lives don't matter. I be the aggressor. I see them green with envy. Strength, muscles, galaxy ahead of most. They go Hulk. Avengers. But when they get beaten, unleash the guardians and the weapons. Mass destruction to hide their sulk. Death to the hipsters. Avengers. Turn the Gothic London South Side, the Gothic Brixton. I grew up in a 21st century metropolis. They RIP the East Clapham notion. They had a dream like Professor X. I went road in hypothesis. Avengers. Storms brewing like Windrush. Had our men like Norths and crosses with X's on chest like X-Men. Mystique made to be great. Tired of having to manage this MH. Mental health, seasonal disorders to conform to. Avengers. Real life avatars. Proof of the beast. Wolverine origins in the formation of the beginning. Genesis. Stood untreated like insects like Ant-Man. I've been carrying 10 times to 100 times the weight of my shit. As if Clayface. Avengers. Government. Want me to be governed by not saving us as if S.H.I.E.L.D. like all we have is their own agenda. It's a wonder women act the way they do, raised to be warriors. In their concrete Amazon. Being caught in webs, many tails, but only spider I know of is a Nancy. Avengers. Watered down rights for my people. Waiting, watching the waves come in, only aquatic will survive like Aquaman. In the darkness I live. I reside in the shadows. Was made to hide for an hour in office. A castaway. Avengers. We now made to be jokers, painted as ugly scarecrows to dilute our beauty. We frighten them. It's twisted times the world shares my dread. Time to come out of the darkness, dark nights. Avengers.
Wow, definitely. That was a powerful one. Tell us a little something about that one.
I feel like as much as we're in the 21st century, we're still going through a lot of struggles from the past.
Definitely.
So I feel like one of the best ways to put it across is in modern ways. And I feel like Marvel and DC is something that whoever generation you grew up on, if you haven't watched the movies, you might have grew up on the comics. I thought I could smartly put in the things that we go through through characters in a piece that would resonate to different generations.
Wow, definitely feeling that one. Yeah, that was a good one. And people are sending me some fire, so I think the listeners like that one too.
Thank you so much. So my last piece is called Team GB.
Okay.
All right. Team GB. Great Brixton. Where you from, fam? Is the words I'm used to hearing growing up. SW9, the home of Windrush generation, where all these postcodes is where they gave us. You think Brixton is great now? Well, my heritage and culture stays different. These days, you splashing one another. I grew up in a carnival era, but all I knew of was street parties and Brixton splash. Couldn't come chatting S or oldest be on Smash, but the markets is where the heartbeats were of the borough that you couldn't afford. Shops floors, so we had the stores selling everything from fruits and veg back home to the latest music and fashion shops never had. Remember a time of red records and institutions for culture and everything they made us. Leave behind us in the motherland. Most said Brixton was bad, but it was safe to me and for us because we was from the bits. We didn't do well with strangers as we knew what they came with. What's not there is about Columbus and what them people posing do-gooders came to bring. The barber was our father figures. The shop was at the link-up spot for the catch-up gossip, the mixtapes and the knock-off DVDs. The block was hot. Delivery drivers and the youngers had Uber Eats taking heads and pieces of money. Where you from, cuz? Happy slapping and fly kicking strangers. Brought a buzz. Every week was a guy, folks, having fireworks. Fighting the man, them aiming their 16 shots and bolting before the bully van would come around Great Brixton. I remember the dogs were the new guns and the weapons. The choice man getting robbed for his sneakers. Spitting bars on the steps, harder than normal ciphers and what was making money. Never bloodshed amongst the brothers, just sparring and play fighting. It's about who you know and what you don't know in street smart. As it was TFL time, if you was at the back of the bus and the wrong crowd would have you given to charity was all your belongings. Team GB. Had us chasing goals, seeking medals in our bedrooms, had to be a track star as you're running to fight another day or get one up on another because we had bare podiums. Meddled with us, made us into gangs because we wear track suits. It's black, but I see nowadays they call it high fashion. We cooked Caribbean food as that's the food we grew up on. Raised in the ghetto, now I see it's a brand, chains of restaurants, they call it gourmet. Fashion was made from us. No one ever wore a suit or looked fresher than we did. South London evolved through our music and our style. This is our mecca. The origin of what you deem the originator of culture, never struggling or dying. We birthed it. So this is what we came next. Great Brixton survived the riots. Starbucks open and we saw more. It's now Commonwealth. It's not a game. We are Olympians from 100 meters. Our great grandparents had racism on a sprint bar relay, passing the baton. With the pardon, when it was our turn, it was united in our kingdom. When domesticated sheep, we counsel before lambs was birthed, but, well, what? The Union jacked. God save our gracious queen, but we were forgotten. Live long, our noble queen, but live long enough for them to expect and send us victorious. Happy are glorious, but give thanks to gratitude, but for all they did, long to reign over us, their reign is over on us. God save the queen, God save the queen that birthed and raised me. So, where you from, fam? What ends are you repping? Where I have seen you before, I am Team GB, but I'm back in Great Brixton for the final piece.
Wow, before we kind of say goodbye to you, kind of just explain that one in a few sentences and once again let the listeners know how they can link up with you.
Okay. I was born and raised in the UK, and my dad is Jamaican. My mum is St. Lucian.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously British, or I'm Black British.
Yeah.
And I feel like at times you always have to question what we are and who we are. So when I wrote that piece, I tried to play on the whole GB, and because I've loved living in South London most of my life, and I've seen how gentrification in the world has changed around me. So I wanted to pay homage to a place I grew up in, but also show how it's changing and how different it is, and what it is to somewhat be Britain, but they're not fit into what Britain is to us.
For real. Definitely feeling that one as well. Big respect, man. I'm definitely loving your pieces.
Thank you.
Please
Thank you so much.
Let the listeners know how they can link you, how they can check out your work.
Definitely hit me up on Instagram. It's Chef Adonis with a Z. Food is on there, spoken word, private bookings. That's the best way to get in touch. And Facebook if you haven't got Instagram. And if you can't get a hold of you that way, then they've also got you as the source to get a hold of me.
For real. Blessings. You know what? I really appreciate yourself coming on, doing some poetry. Definitely been a vibe, for real.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, you're always welcome, yeah? Speak soon.
Love. Bye.
Bless, bless. Yes, people, please do go and support, okay, Duban Sinclair, aka Chef Adonis. Come in with some flavor, come in with some vibe.